Today we're going to talk about propaganda, and the first thing which we can call propaganda is newspapers, tabloid newspapers, not just the corporate-owned news. It's self-biased views and self-biased reports to the agenda of the corporations that own those papers and the government to sway public vote for what they want or what they need. Doesn't matter if it's left wing or right wing, it's propaganda. You probably think propaganda is something like King George, Britain needs you, and the Uncle Sam poster, I want you. But it's not. Posters what they based in the Second World War, but it's not just that. Newspapers are propaganda as well. They're filled with subliminal messages and subliminal commands. Like vote now. If you see the when there comes to elections, there's always the posters saying vote now. Vote now is a subliminal command. You don't realise, but you're basically being commanded subliminally, subconsciously to vote. The example of a picture-word relation, which we'll go on to. When you see a children's book with a car, and then the picture of the word car next to the picture, or a picture of an apple and then the word apple, it's picture-word relation. The best example of those psychological methods used is the Edward Snowden, the whistleblower of the global surveillance program, where in the Daily Mail they had the picture of Edward Snowden and then the word traitor in capitals on the headline. Now that's a picture-word relation, subliminal opinion put into your minds that every time you would see Edward Snowden, you see him as a traitor, and you wouldn't realise that, but newspapers have a lot of psychological trickery in them, and subliminal commands and subliminal messages. If it's not politics or war on the front page, or terrorism as they call it, it's usually celebrity news, and tabloids and etc. are there to make money. You imagine you paying 40 pence for a newspaper times the millions of people who pay the same amount for the same newspapers and the others. They're basically making money, and then they're basically telling you what to think with their own biased self-agenda, without telling you the full story. Journalists, they're not allowed to say what they like, and they have editors, so if they did put in their own opinion or thought which contradicts the agenda of the newspaper itself, then it's edited out by the editor themselves. So it's a very biased tabloid basis. All you need to remember is when you pay for a tabloid or newspaper, you're basically paying for propaganda, and you're paying for to be given an opinion into your mind based on what you're told from a corporation that has its own biased agenda, to sway you as one individual, as the whole of the public, towards what they want. And the best thing I can advise is to question everything you read and hear, even the conspiracy side. Question everything and do your own research, and don't just pick up a newspaper and read it and believe that's the truth, or watch the corporate-owned mainstream news and believe that's the truth either. Because remember, the same people who told us there were WMDs, weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, also lied to us. So what was the chance they lied to us about 9/11, 7/7, which were most likely inside jobs? And I'll leave it there.